Hey, I'm Andrea. I am a Latina in HESA. I am a graduate student in a higher ed program. Yeah, the Latinidad, the bilingualism just loves to jump out sometimes. Um, and I did not go to class this week. I know what you're saying. You're like, girl, you're so excited about this class. Like, you've been talking about this theory, no sé qué, no sé cuándo. Like, what? Why would you not go to class? We're still at the beginning of the semester. Well, I have an interview tomorrow. So I don't know if I'll get to it this video, but I am job searching. So that's part of the other reason why I really wanted to do this and just like do it, just start, have something out there. Hopefully if you're watching this, you're thinking about hiring me. So um I think I want to take this time to talk a little bit about my experience as a graduate student, but specifically about being a graduate student with full-time experience who is significantly older than my peers and my classmates, but then also with the older, like the older classmates that I have, they're like married with children, or they're also full-time employees at my institution, whereas I'm still a GA. So my experience, I think, is very maybe not very unique in like the grand scheme of things, but it's very unique for me. um so I am a GA, and I'll get to my GA position, I think, in another video. But I think being a grad student now, so I think I want to preface by saying that this is not the first time that I've been a grad student. Um, so this is definitely the institution that I'm going to graduate from. I started off at a previous institution 2 years ago. It's wild to say that. And even before that, I had taken a very, very, very long gap, decade from graduating from undergrad to starting grad school, and starting a graduate program. And I I did apply to grad school after college or after undergrad. And I got in to a program. I had applied to 3 programs, was very excited about all of them, only got into one. All I needed was one, right? Like, you just need one yes. So I got one yes. But I I don't want to spend too much time on it. I ended up not going. I ended up choosing to, not choose, well, yeah, choosing, because I got an offer to go back to New York, which is where I'm from, and work at an institution I was very familiar with, that a lot of my classmates went to. If you're watching this, you probably know what I'm talking about, because you probably know me. And so I I forewent grad school right after my undergraduate graduation. And uh, so the thing is, like, after undergrad, I end up working in res life. Very typical, like entry level role for a student affairs professional going into the field. And I that role, that experience, um, probably not the best to debrief it here, but I ended up leaving the field entirely, and became an expatriate of student affairs. Not like intentionally, like I wasn't trying to say like I'm done with student affairs forever. I just like I needed to leave that environment and that space. And I wanted to try new things. I think that part of being a student affairs professional, and even just like being a student leader, is that you get to experience a lot of cool things. You get to do a lot of cool things. You get to be involved with so many like organizations and people, and you get to create like experiences for others, and like you get to give back, and you get to do all these other things. And so I loved, or I still liked being a student affairs professional, but at that moment in time in my life, I was more interested in pursuing other things just to give them a shot, just to like try them out, to say, or to not say that I didn't give it a try. Um, I wanted to be sure and see what was out there for me. And so this video is not about like my time away from student affairs. It's about me being a student or me being a grad student now. And I think something that I found, or, and I don't know if this is particular to my institution, um, but, or in the 2, 3 institutions that I've like been a part of recently, in my career, I have noticed that students are going straight from undergrad to grad school, and not just in higher ed, but like in all sorts of programs. And I think that's just like super interesting because when I was an undergraduate student, like, yes, the conversations about grad school were there, so much so that I was a McNair scholar my sophomore and my junior year. So like they're talking about PhD programs at that moment in time. And I knew that like I should probably pursue a master's degree, especially because I my undergrad degree is in the liberal arts. Um, so I knew that that's kind of where I was going. But when I left student affairs, the first time, I guess you could say, I don't plan on leaving again, but the first time, that was when like tech startups were like booming. It was super cool to be a part of a tech startup, especially in New York City. So again, I took my chance and I was like, let me just try it out. Let me give it a shot. Let me see what it's like. Um, wasn't it wasn't as fulfilling as it is to be working with students, at least for me. Um, a big part of why I returned to student affairs is because I really, really missed like those aha moments of when you're talking with a student, and maybe not like immediately. It's typically not immediately. After like building rapport with them and like getting to understand them a little bit better, and like talking through like, dissonance, and conversations that are enlightening for them. When that moment hits, that aha moment hits, like that, I was missing that in my professional and my personal life. So I knew that not only did I want to come back to student affairs, but also that I definitely needed to lock in, as the kids would say, and get through this master's degree, get a get I need this, or, and this is probably like my personal opinion, but I was just like, I really need this master's degree in order to move forward in my career, because I know that I can do, the RD role. A lot of people do it for a long time, but is it beneficial? Is it actually like letting me grow as a professional? And um so again, I'm interviewing this week, and part of that process is like I'm interviewing for positions that are like master's preferred or master's required, just because I'm very ready to move on to the next like phase of my career. But as a grad student, again, like very surprised to see so many like students straight from undergrad go into grad school. And quite frankly, I don't know if this is gonna ruffle some feathers or not, but I do feel like I understand and like further appreciate my classes and my coursework because I have so much professional experience under my belt. Not only am I learning like theory to practice, I'm also thinking about and reflecting on my practices, and how they fit into theory. And that to me has been super helpful to reflect and also think about like, okay, here's where I'm confident that I was doing this as a best practice, but also here's where theory is kind of like challenging me to think about like, is this is this the best way for me to engage with a student? Is this the best way for me to lead a staff meeting? Is this the best way for me to like set up a work culture for everybody else that hopefully one day is working in my department? And so I think for me, I I think it could be really easy to be like, oh, like I don't fit in because like everybody else is like younger than me or not super, let me not say it like that, but like a lot, or not necessarily older, but like living different circumstances than I am, like, and um and I'm choosing to uh see and believe that like my professional experience is actually an added value to my graduate experience. That the way that I engage with students as a GA is um, not just from a place of of theory, or even just from a place of like um, seeing what others have done or how others have worked, but really it's coming from a place of like how I now have established my way um, of moving forward. And that doesn't mean I'm not adaptable. That doesn't mean I'm not flexible. It means that I'm not figuring it out in real time. Um, and I really appreciate that because figuring it out in real time is very daunting. So I think that, again, in my experience now, being a full-time grad student, a GA, and having had so much professional experience, especially like in like New York City, in that like tech era, boom era, where it, especially in the hustle and grind, like hustle culture, like the height of hustle culture, the height of like grinding it out, the height of the girl boss era, um, that that was a, how do I want to say this? That definitely built a lot in me, and again, helps me more than anything, I think, really appreciate the work of higher education and student affairs. Um, and I'm not saying that you can't appreciate it as an undergrad. I'm saying I appreciate it even more because of the things that I have been through and the things that I have seen, the things that have been said to me. um, and I think that I also am just like more, I don't want to say mature, but like I I really struggled in undergrad with um with distractions, in terms of like it was very easy for me to like be like, oh, I'm busy because I'm putting on this event, instead of like focusing or like studying for, or I was in liberal arts, I was like reading 100 pages a night instead of reading those 100 pages, right? Instead of like and I didn't have ChatGPT, I didn't have AI, I was reading them. So for me, I think the intention, and my intention coming into this graduate chapter of my life, is not just immersing myself, but like really taking the lessons from my undergraduate experience and focusing on my master's degree, focusing on my academics, really modeling what it means to be a student and to have additional responsibilities that directly correlate with your tuition, that directly correlate with your room and board. For me now as a graduate student, um, not only do I say my studies come first and that's my first priority, I also live it. And I um I think I was always, not always, but like, as much as a child and a teenager and as a young adult can be, was pretty organized. But now it's very, um, because of my intentions for this chapter, it's very easy for me to say no to a night out, or say no, I don't really go out like that, but like to say um no to like little other distractions that are not helping me graduate this year, or not helping me get a 4.0, or not helping me further understand these theories, or my practicum work, or anything that I need to do for my GA position. Um, this chapter is really personal for me, and I think that's the other thing. And I'll just end it here. Like this being in this unique space, or in this unique chapter of my life, where I, again, like my peers don't are not in the same like age group as I am, and also some of the ones who are maybe a little bit closer to me, they're living very different experiences than I am. So yes, I do find myself being alone a lot, but I think that that's not a bad thing. Again, that has made this chapter even more personal for me. And it's not that I don't want to meet others. It's not that I don't want to talk with anybody else. It's not that I don't want to commune and what's the word that we like to use at my institution, fellowship with others in the field or with students. It's that I come from working and giving my all to the work, that this chapter, because it's my master's degree, I finally get to give it all to myself. Because after this, I'm gonna go and hopefully have a job. I will have a job. I will have a job. If you're watching this, I will have a job. And I will have a great job, and I feel not just qualified but confident in what I bring to the table. That's probably another video, but again, I just wanted to share really quickly, kind of what it's like to be a graduate student with professional experience, and kind of like immersed into this almost like an executive graduate program of higher education and student affairs. So like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with a teacher. Share this with your friend who used to be an RA. Share this with your former e-board from your student org. Share this with your colleagues who do anything with any kind of student. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.